してバトラが怒ってるのかわかんないよ。
Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry, episode 4, where there have been many deaths in the previous video. Definitely not an understatement, like everybody is pretty much dead except for Battler and Maria here, and then the two that we locked up in the gardening shack, shed, whatever the hell it is, that being Goda and Kumasawa. That's it. And I guess Kinzo is still alive, if that actually is Kinzo. And with all these magical beings running amok here on the island, and the goats. But for humans, definitely the 4, maybe 5 with Kinzo, not really sure. But the conditions have now been met for Beatrice to be revived. And we're a whole day early. And that's also not an understatement or a bit of an exaggeration. No, Beatrice could revive now, and we are literally a day early. So, very different episode this has been, 100%. But I'm actually very curious to see what else can happen now. The testing will continue. What awaits Battler? What awaits Maria? Also, if you guys didn't know, for I don't know how long now, probably a month and a half or so, I've been messing with my audio. I was recording Fate off of a two temporary setups, and then whenever I got onto my regular setup, I continued to kind of mess around with my audio since I wasn't able to utilize my settings on the temporary setups. And I thought, well, let's just keep on going, let's see if I can figure something out. And I just have never really been all that satisfied compared to what I've been kind of rolling with for the past couple or so years. So I've decided to kind of roll back, kind of. I am using, since I have an Elgato microphone, I'm using their noise suppressor, or whatever it is that they call it, because it actually does work. You know, any bits of noise that does leak through the AI is not as bad. So it's picking me up just fine, it's just everything else is either not there, or it's very quiet, which is perfect for whenever my dogs decide, let's bark and scream, which you guys will still hear it, but it's just at a lower volume. That's good enough for me. We'll go back to the settings that I was using beforehand. So if you guys noticed my audio kind of shifting around a little bit over the past who knows how many videos, that's why. But back to the OG.
わかるだろ。みんな殺されたんだぞ。あのクソジジイに。ベアトリーチェ復活の儀式とかわけのわかんないことを言った。
ならこれで13人が生贄に捧げられて、もうベアトリーチェは蘇った頃だよ。
ああ、なら上等だ。ベアトリーチェもまとめて一緒にぶち殺してやろう。
マリアたちは儀式を生き残った。だからベアトリーチェに黄金鏡に招待してもらえるんだよ。
Supposedly, yes.
そこでは願いは何でも叶う。家族を殺されたのが辛いなら生き返らせてもらえばいいのに。マリアはそうするつもりだよ。黒い魔女に取り憑かれていない、本当に優しい本当のママを蘇らせてもらうの。だからママはもうずっとマリアと一緒。お仕事とかで残業も休日出勤も何もないの。ずっとマリアと一緒にいてくれて、マリアのことだけを考えてくれて。マリアのために恐ろしい敵といつも戦ってくれるの。
Oh, a child's limited imagination. Or I guess their imagination is unlimited. Their scope of the world is what is limited.
お前、どうかしてるぜ。
You're now picking that up?
なんでこの状況で、そんなわけわかんねえことを言ってられるんだ。
バトラは今、キリエおばさんに言われたはずだよ。魔女を信じろと言われたはずなのに。
Wow. just a one-liner right there.
こんなとこでマリアと口喧嘩してる場合じゃねえぜ。もう人質も何も誰も生き残っちゃいねえんだ。
You're forgetting about the two we locked away.
もうクソくだらねえ。おかしな儀式もゲームもおしまいだぜ。ここからは俺の好きにさせてもらう。まだ生きてる奴がいるかもしれない。あるいは隠れてる奴がいるかもしれない。 片っ端から調べて見つけ出しぶちのめしてやるぜ。
In a rage, Battler grabbed his hat stand spear, there it is, and flew out of the room. I was like, when did he have a hat? Maria watched him go, looking bored.
ベアトリーチェがすぐに願いを叶えてくれるのに、バトラはバカ。
At that time, the phone rang out again. Maria stood up and grabbed the receiver.
もしもし、ほう？
I wonder who it could be. Of course, the sound of the phone also reached Battler's ears as he was about to dash out of the house. With a violent forcefulness, he turned around and dashed into the cousin's room.
マリア、電話って誰からだ?
With a terrifying look on his face, Battler yelled at Maria, who was on the phone. You couldn't blame him. Right now, the only humans left alive on the island were himself, Maria, Goda, and Kumasawa. But there was no way those two could call after being locked up in the gardening storehouse, which meant there was only one person left. It had to be Kinzo. After continuing her pleasant chat with the person on the other end of the phone for a while, Maria slowly turned to face Battler. Then, with an unsettling expression on her face, she laughed. I'm not trying to say any bit of that. It felt almost as though the person on the other end of the line was chatting about Battler.
マリア、電話の相手は誰だ? じいさまか?
Battler couldn't imagine that this was the case. After all, it was inconceivable that Maria would talk intimately with Kinzo, and that she would be chatting about Battler with that eerie smile on her face. So just what kind of person could be on the phone? Who could make Maria chat with a smile like that? At that time, in the back of his mind, the words Kirie had spoken to him drifted up. If a witch does appear, there's no need to doubt it. Just believe that it exists.
バトラー、今帰ってきたよ。せっかちだよね。
マリア、その電話の相手は誰だ? 誰なんだ?
変わる？はい、バトラー。
I was just gonna, say we should just yank it out of her hand. After getting the consent of the person on the other end, she held the receiver out to Battler.
Hi.
Maria held the receiver out for him to take as though it was perfectly normal. Battler hesitated just a little bit before taking the receiver. After all, by accepting the existence of the person at the other end, he'd have no choice but to acknowledge them. As Kirie said, there is no longer any need to doubt that they exist. No, there definitely is a need. Battler took the receiver. As he did, Maria briskly left the room. Battler, who was a bit scared to find out for sure who was at the other end of the receiver, questioned Maria before taking the call.
おい、どこへ行くんだよ?
マリアのテストの場所だよ。
Oh, it's her turn.
Ushiromiya家の当主はバトラかマリアか。どっちだろうね。
Or nobody, there's always that possibility.
いくら殺されるぞ。
殺されないよ。儀式はもう終わってるもの。それに殺されても蘇らせてもらえるし、当主になってもなれなくても、もう私たちは黄金鏡に招いてもらえる。じゃあね。
待てよ、マリア!
Battler stretched his hand out to Maria's back as she left, but the cord of the receiver that he was gripping stopped him, just like a chain. He readied himself. Battler put the receiver to his ear. Yeah, whoever is on the other line just heard all of that.
もしもし。
Alright, who is it? A part of me really wants to think Kinzo. However, would he really stoop that low to make the phone call? Probably not. I have a feeling that maybe it's Goda or Kumasawa. Or we are stepping into the realm of craziness. Oh, there it is. There it is. All right, yep, it is somebody in the realm of the crazy.
I'm fine.
Screwed up, mocking English filled his ears. Yeah, you could say that again. It was the voice of a woman he didn't know. Who was it? The inside of his head was starting to freeze up. What the fuck is this song? Who was it?
誰はないであろう、後ろ宮パートナー。返事は普通。Yes, I'm fine であろう。懐かしいな。中国でやっただろ。二人一組になってやるやつ。
いかれてやがる。
Yeah.
てめえは誰だ。答えやがれ。
英語で言えよ。
Why?
お前、そういうの得意だったろ。
ふざけんじゃねえよ。てめえは誰だ。クソジジイの手先か。
手先とはひどい言いざまではないか。むしろ虜と言ってやる。金蔵わらわの虜だろ。
That last laugh didn't sound like it was aimed at Battler. It was almost as though Kinzo was right next to the phone cackling as well.
名を名乗りやがれ。てめえは誰だ。何者だ。
当ててみろよ。ハワイへご招待するぜ。
Better than the place we're currently at.
やっとだ。やっと。長かったぜ。本当に今日まで長い日々だった。マジで1000年は待ったぜ。今日という日をよ。おかげさまをもちましてわらは大復活。サンキュー金蔵。特別にさっきの待った聞いてやってもいいぜ。
やれやれ、上機嫌にも程があろうが。
Damn, they're already back up here playing fucking chess?
もう少しは淑女らしく振る舞わんか。
Kinzo and Beatrice sat facing each other over the chessboard on the reception table. There was expensive cheese and snacks to go with drinks, and there were several empty wine bottles lined up. As Beatrice rolled around on the sofa in an unseemly way, she happily held a wine glass in one hand and was probably completely drunk.
今日は最高にご機嫌だから大サービスだ。おいおい銀座、こんな年代物の寄付ワインなんか飾ってんだよ。1947年ものかよ。今日開けなくていつ開けるつもりだ。それを浴びせっこして遊ぼうぜ。空き瓶で殴りっこもしよう。
What? Huh? Why would you want to do any bit of that?
それは愉快だ。浮かれすぎであるぞ。羽目の外しすぎだ。
Yeah, alcohol will do that to you.
金蔵だって。わらわに再会できて嬉しいだろ。シャバだ。うつしおだ。わらわの肉体万歳。
お前さっきから何を騒いでるんだ。お前がベアトリーチェだとでも言うのかよ。
Uh-huh.
Yes! I
So when Beatrice is drunk, she speaks in English.
金蔵の13人殺しの儀式のおかげでようやくわらわは復活したぞ。
You know, Kinzo this time around really just said, fine, I'll do it myself, and really did just go around and murder everyone.
だがあるといい。こうしてそなたと話せることのなんと楽しいことか。そういえばお前とはあれだけ何度も何度も憎まれ口を叩き合ってきたのに、こうしてゲーム中に盤上で会話をしたのは初めてだな。
It is?
何やらとても新鮮だ。
I'm pretty sure there was a lovely conversation during episode 2 at the end when she chained him up and also undressed him.
今のポンって音聞こえたか。あいつ開けたぞ。マジでバカたっけえ秘蔵ワイン分けやがった。いくらするか知ってるか。10キロのインゴット丸々と同じくらいするんだぜ。
ふざけるな。何がベアトリーチェだ。黄金の魔女だと。いい加減にしろ。どこにいやがれ。そこにクソジジイも一緒にいるのか。てめえらまとめてぶっ飛ばしてやら。今どこにいやがるんだ。答えやがれ。
なんだ、わらわに会いたいのか。モテる女はつれや。でもよ、金蔵がいる時に口説くのはよせよ。こいつマジで焼くから立ち悪いぜ。金蔵のいない二人っきりの時ならこっそり内緒で愛してやるからよ。
Okay, but you're also saying that right in front of him. I mean, we all know that she's just fucking about because she's drunk, but still. Logic here.
金蔵、気が変わった。マリアのテストにわらわは行かない。そなたが行け。
なんと気まぐれな。ではお前がバトラーをテストするというのか。
いいだろう。あいつさ、お前の若い時に似てるからさ、キュンときちゃうんだよ。安心しろよ。浮気なんかしないって。あいつと二人っきりになるのは今だけ。わらわはいつだってお前と二人きりだろう。
What the fuck?
だがもうわらわを食事中束縛するのは勘弁しろよ。
Damn, if you give Beatrice a little bit of the alcohol, she really just becomes a different person. I mean, she already was a bit of a different person from the get-go, but this is different.
黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェが自ら取り行ってやろう。バトル。そうだ。この屋敷の正面玄関にしてた。バトラー、次期当選。マジで頑張ってくれよ。どうせ金蔵なんてすぐに寿命でぽっくりいっちまう。バトラーが次期当選になってくれりゃ、お前がこの島のすべての新しい主だ。わらを独り占めにさせてもいいんだよ。金蔵のためにわらを支配しておくれよ。
屋敷の玄関だな。上等だ。このクソったれない酔っ払いめ。俺がてめえの酔いを覚ましてやるぜ。
With these fists.
迎え酒には俺の熱いパンチをくれてやる。
Told you.
首を洗って待ってやがら。
Battler impulsively slammed the receiver down. There was no need to talk through it anymore. I'll meet her face to face and settle this. Yeah, fucking swing your shit, bro. You got this. You really don't, but I'm just gonna say you do. I took the spear I had made from the hat stand and went outside without even an umbrella. It's hard to imagine that the young woman calling herself Beatrice is waiting for me alone. I should probably assume that, as Goda-san and the rest said, she'll be waiting with supporting troops. Going alone would be too reckless. Is he going to free the prisoners? They're probably already dead, honestly. I headed for the gardening storehouse first. I need all the help I can get. Goda-san is big, so I can probably count on him for some firepower. Kumasawa's knowledge and familiarity with the terrain as a senior servant might become a huge weapon. Both of them have master keys, and they know more about the mansion than I do. They'll be pretty reliable allies. As I banged on the shutter and called out for them to open it, I remembered that there was nothing they could do from the inside. I would have to get the key back from them before opening the door. I rounded the corner, knocked on the small latticed window there, and opened it.
ゴーダさん 熊沢のばあちゃん、バトラーだ。おい、起きろって。
Oh, here we go. They're dead, aren't they? The scene in the shed, lit by a dim light bulb, was very strange.
こうだ、熊沢。
From a low ceiling beam hung 2 thick ropes. And at the ends, Goda-san and Kumasawa-san were hanging by their necks. They committed suicide? No way. Oh my god, we actually get to see a bit of it. Oh no, that's horrible. Oh, god damn it. Well, I guess if I had a nickel every time that we got to a scene like this in a visual novel, I'd have 2 nickels. Which really isn't a lot, but I hate that it happened twice. It was dim and cramped because of the various pieces of equipment strewn about, so I couldn't make out the situation clearly. But when they showed not even a tremor after I called out to them, and because of the way the loops around their necks seemed to carry the full weight of their bodies, I could sense no trace of life from them. Guys, I can't use that as the thumbnail, I'm just saying. The shutter was still closed, and there was only a single key, which had supposedly been given to Goda-san. So how had the culprit opened the shutter and killed both of them inside? No, wait, they weren't necessarily killed. If this is a suicide, well, that way this closed room makes sense. But I don't know why they would want to hang themselves and commit suicide. Feebly, I stumbled down on the spot. Now, the only humans alive on this island are me, Maria, and that damn geezer, supposedly. No, there's also that insane woman calling herself Beatrice. There's also Maria, who had acted like the witch's ally from the beginning. And that geezer, the ringleader who revived the witch. And the witch herself. What the hell? By now I might as well be the only one on this island. That isolation is a very strange feeling, isn't it? Using my pole as a cane, I feebly rose. Damn, I can't do it like this. I've got to avenge everyone. Honestly, whenever I see somebody say it's useless, I just think of Battler nowadays. I am so fucked. There's no way out of this. Might as well cry while I can, so that my frail emotions will be squeezed out with my tears. Then I straightened up and gazed into the darkness in the direction of the mansion. At the entrance to the mansion, the witch is waiting. I'll go and settle this. I'll find the source of this weird, insane night and crush her with my own hands. Hopefully. We're gonna be throwing them hands. Hopefully. Amidst the pouring rain, I walked through the rose garden without an umbrella, letting myself get soaked. I could see the arbor on the other side. According to Jessica, it seemed that George Aniki had also been killed. Well, by this point, there's no need to worry about the lives of any hostages. I left the path, aiming for the arbor. Were we looking for his corpse too? Then, I saw George Aniki's weather-beaten corpse.
Aniki.
Okay, it looks like we're starting to get the deaths now that, you know, Battler is actually seeing them. So that means that George is the only one here. Wait a minute. Corpse discovered by the Rose Garden Arbor. There was a single hole right in the center of his forehead. It seems reasonable to think that he was shot with a gun or something. It was a brand of humiliation marking his loss to Gap. Did that actually happen? I don't remember if she actually stepped back in and actually did anything. It had been a little bit, all right, since I last recorded, and my memory is trash. All right, but it looks like we're gonna start looking for the corpses and start shocking them up there. Oh man, why are we getting CGs for everybody's corpse here? The corpse was in front of the arbor. If he had died under the arbor, he might have at least been spared being beaten down by the rain. and Aniki's forehead was a gaping hole, as though he had been shot with a gun. Perhaps because the rain had washed everything away, his face wasn't covered with blood, so he looked almost like he was sleeping. However, his clothes were stained a deep red, and there were still signs that a large amount of blood had flowed out. How happy I'd be if he were sleeping or else pretending to be dead. But even though the rain sprayed against Aniki's eyes, they remained open. And the hole in his forehead was no joke, but absolutely real. There had been a faint chance that even Goda-san and Kumasawa-san hanging by their necks in the gardening shed had been them playing a bad joke, but that naive possibility had now been completely denied. And as I looked at his corpse, or at this corpse, I became completely sure. Just as Goda-san had once said, the enemy had come to take lives like pieces on a chessboard.
間違いない。クソジジイと魔女は俺たちの命なので、本当にその程度にしか思ってないらしい。
That damn witch said something over the phone. Something about us being on the game board.
上等だぜ。そうかよ。こいつはゲームのつもりかよ。あら。お前らがみんなをゲームみたいに殺したように、俺がお前らをゲームのように殺してもいいわけだよな。首を洗ってやがれ、ベアトリーチェ。
Yes. Let the hate flow through you. The lightning caused the mansion's vast shadow to rise up. Finally, the mansion. As the massive shape came into view, there was no silhouette of any person. It seemed that there weren't any underlings waiting for me in a pack or anything like that. According to Kirie-san, there were massive amounts of attendants with goat heads. At least for now, I couldn't sense a large group of them hiding and staring at me. What is this? Beneath the roof of the entrance, there's something set down.
なんだよ、これ箱。
It looked like the kind of small box that girls often keep trinkets in. Or maybe it was the same kind of extravagant cigar case that you would find in a reception room. Either way, it didn't look like something that should be here. It clearly looked as though I was being told to open it. But for some reason, opening something being offered to me was irritating. However, it didn't look like we'd get anywhere if I didn't open it. Could it be that it's set up with some trap to make it explode when opened? Thinking things like that, forgetting even to come under the overhang, I continued to glare at the box, still beaten down upon by the rain. And then, mixed in with the thunder, was some kind of music? It sounded like that. It was the tone of the big clock in the hall announcing midnight. It was also a sound announcing that this insane day, October 4th, had finally ended. And that the much more incredibly insane day of October 5th had begun. That sound quieted, and I could hear an eerie laugh coming out of nowhere. I got the feeling that the voice was coming from the heavens, and I looked up at the sky. What I saw there was a woman that I had never seen before. No, it's not true that I never saw her before. I saw her once today. Yes, and the portrait inside the mansion. The clothes were different, but that face was just like the witch of the portrait. Ah, who am I kidding? I already know who this person is. Oh, yeah. Now that was thumbnail material right there. I can't use the CGs of the corpses. From the second floor balcony, leaning out under an umbrella and waving high-spiritedly, was without a doubt the witch of the portrait, Beatrice. Was the plan for the boss to take a bird's-eye view and let the goat underlings torture me to death? I adjusted my grip on the spear, and imagining goats creeping out of the nearby shadows and the entrance surrounding me, I raised my guard in all directions.
ここにはわらわとお前以外の誰もいねえぜ。ヤギの家具どももいなければ、悪魔の執事もお師匠様も、我が親友の悪魔もいない。そして我が肉体の蘇生を手伝う黄金の蝶たちもいなければ魔法陣もない。その意味がそなたにわかるかな？
Supposedly, it's just these two.
さっぱりだぜ。寝言言ってろ。
そなたとは確かにこの世界でも何度か会えてはきたのだ。まるですれ違うかのようにね。知っての通り、この人間どもの世界はただ貴様らが存在し、わらわを疑うだけで、それは膨大な毒素となる。
Yeah, that shit hasn't been working whatsoever in this rendition of the story.
まるでそなたというキングに対して守りを固める堅牢の城壁のようよ。それをわらわは何度もゲームを重ね、駒を一つずつ進め、切り崩し追い込み、じわじわとそなたの城壁を切り崩していった。そしてようやくわずかの隙間を開き、そこからわらわはビショップを送り込み、そなたのすぐ近くに近づけるようになった。しかし知っての通り、ビショップは死角のある駒だ。黒のビショップはそなたが黒きマスにとどまる限り絶大な影響力を発揮するが、そなたがひょいと白きマスに一歩逃れれば、わらわはそなたの隣に接することはできても接触することはかなわぬのだ。だからわらわはそなたが白きマスにとどまれぬようさまざまな駒を送り込み、そなたの隣の黒きマスを支配するわらわの前に弾き出されるようにゲームを進めてきたのだ。
So as you all may know, my chess knowledge is still pretty dog shit. However, I have started to play the game, and I can actually picture what the fuck she's talking about, and sort of why. So I think I'm making some, slight, minuscule progress here and trying to get the metaphors down.
しかし今やそなたの城壁はぽっかりと穴を開け、わらわはビショップではなくとうとうクイーンを送り込むことができた。クイーンがどういう駒か知っているか？
飛車プラス角だろ。言いてえことはこうかよ。今やお前は黒い魔女幻想のマスだけでなく、白い人間世界のマスにまで自由に侵食できるようになった。
その通り。そなたはわらわの眷属である黄金の蝶たちが存在するマスのことを魔女幻想と呼び、観測者なき非現実と仮定して否定してきたのだろう。知っておるぞ。だからこそわらわはこうしてとうとう白きマスへ降臨した。安心しろよ。黄金の蝶もヤギたちも悪魔も魔女も後でいっぱい呼んでやるぜ。そなたが望むならわらわの黄金鏡へ招待してやる。そこで何でも願いを叶えてやろうぞ。
どうやらこの島のチェス盤はインク壺でもぶっかけちまったみたいだな。
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
なるほど、それも愉快な表現よ。すぐにそなたもそのインクに染まるぞ。やがては真っ黒に染まり、必ず黒きキングになる。そなたは今インクの海に溺れる哀れな存在であるな。
いや違う。島がてめえのインク壺で全て真っ黒に染まっちまったことは認めるが、白いマスはまだ残ってるぜ。
ほう、どこに？
俺の足の裏にだぜ。お前の魔法のインクが島中を覆い尽くそうと、俺が踏みしめる足の裏までは覆えない。いけん。この島が真っ黒に染まろうと、俺は俺だ。白いマスを こうして踏みしめて立っている。
Yeah, but like, if you have just one square on a chessboard that is of the opposite color, you can't do anything though. You're still kind of fucked. It's strange. Until a second ago, I was shivering all over. But now that she's appeared openly right before my eyes like this, my terror has actually lessened. Interesting. Ghosts are more terrifying when you can only sense them. When you can see them, they have a face you can plant your fist into, and there's nothing scary about it. However, she definitely isn't as an interesting or a friendly person. She can kill me instantly by snapping her fingers while rolling around giggling. Whether we interpret the result of her snapping her fingers as magic flying at me or underlings showing up to shoot me, it doesn't matter. Anyway, whether this is fantasy or mystery, that queen is in a position where she can kill me just by snapping her fingers. I see. So this means that she's the queen of this island, who reigns over both the white and black squares?
さて、この雨の中、そなたが風邪をひくまで待つのも面白いね。そろそろ本題に入る。そこに箱があるのがわかる。そなたへのテストは。
待ちな。俺はもう今さら次期当主が誰かなんてくだらねえゲームには。俺のゲームはクソジジイとお前とみんなを殺した奴ら全員にそれぞれ顔面パンチをぶち込むことだ。
Thank you for explaining what that was.
ほう。わらわのこのバルコニーまで空を飛び上がってくるというのか。それはよい、それはよい。ならばほら、早く来いよ。ほら、ほら、パンパン。
絶対安全な場所に嫌がるからって余裕ぶっこきやがって。今からそこに行くぞ。首を洗って待ってやがれ。
ダメダメ。鍵がかかっているぞ。もちろん窓もすべて鎧戸を下ろしてある。そなたが短期で切り込めること、わらわの城は脆くはない。
I tried opening the door to the entrance anyway, but it really was locked. I looked around and I noticed that the shutters were closed on the windows after all. Normally, those wouldn't be closed. I mean, I'd rather us just check and see what's in the box. Let's play our little game here.
用意周到なやつだぜ。鍵はどこだ。
Goda-san and Kumasawa-san probably had master keys, but they were in the closed room of the gardening shed. I can only give up for now.
くそ、やつもバカじゃねえってか。
そんなにわらわのすぐ隣に来たいのか。いいぞ。そなたがテストに見事合格できたら越見を許そうではないか。合格ということはそなたこそが次期当主、そしてわらわの次なる主。わらわの肉体も魂もどう扱おうとそなたの自由よ。わらわは所詮は後宮家の家具なのだから。
どうやらテストってやつをどうしてもやらせたいらしいな。いいぜ、受けて立ってやら。合格したら最初のご褒美はてめえに顔面パンチだぜ。
My man just wants violence.
それは怖い怖い。
But as they say, fight fire with fire.
だが暴力に支配されるのも嫌いではないぞ。わらわの頭をこうわしづかみにして普通に表情を歪めさせ、鷹がその爪で獲物を引き裂きかきむしるようにわらわを蹂躙してくれよ。ああ、若き日の金蔵をもう一度思い出させておくれ。わらわにこの1000年の生涯でただ一度支配さ屈服し家具に落ちる喜びを教えてくれたあの日のことを思い出させてくれよ。
Oh, she freaky crazy.
酔っ払いね。
And that.
違うかね。
She's also definitely drunk. Ignoring the stupidly smiling witch, I picked up the box.
そうだ、それを開け。中に手紙がある。それを読むのだ。
I opened it. There was a faint smell of cigarettes. Apparently, it really had originally been a cigar case. But there were no cigarettes or cigars inside. Of course. Instead, there was a Western envelope with the one-winged eagle crest. And when I opened that too, there was a letter inside. I looked up at the witch. She was grinning down at me. It seemed that she was looking forward to seeing what kind of reaction I'd have to the contents. Damn, just perfect. Its contents were something like this. Among the 3 mentioned below, in order to gain 2, sacrifice 1. Oh, we've seen this before. 1, your life. 2, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Who is in the blank spot? Who is in the blank spot there? Is that supposed to say Ange? Ange's life, maybe? And then there's everyone else's lives, but everybody else is dead. Or maybe it's just... It's supposed to be like a fill-in-the-blank situation. You know, it could be anybody. If you do not choose one, all of the above will be lost.
なんだこりゃ。随分と物騒なことが書かれてるぞ。それより、2番目が
Okay, so it is
空欄になってて
blank.
誰の命か分かりゃしねえ。
うん。その2番には、そのものの最も愛するものの名が入る。
That's interesting. So, they actually didn't really know. It was obvious with Jessica and George, Kanon and Shannon, respectively. But here, it's a little different. And I'm sure it's going to be a little different for Maria as well.
ジェシカのテストにはカノンの名、ジョージのテストにはシャノンの名が入った。彼らについては思い人がはっきりしていたから、あらかじめ名前を記入してやれもしたが。
But here, it's a little different.
そなたの思い人をわらわは知らぬ。だから誰の名を書けばいいやらわからず、空欄とさせてもらった。
そいつはちょうどいいや。愛してるぜ、ベアトリーチェ。お前の名前をここに突っ込んでやる。
Okay, that's actually a clever response.
だから俺が選ぶ選択肢は2番だ。これでいいか？
おいおい、茶化すな茶化すな。なあ、頼むよバトラー。お前の思い人の名をわらわに教えてくれよ。じゃないとテストにならぬではないか。
The only thing I can think of is not necessarily a romantic love, but more so a family-based one here. He loves his family, and he only has one close family member left, with that being Ange.
悪いな。俺に特定の女はいねえぜ。仮にいたって。誰がお前なんぞに話すもんか。
Yeah, he's got a point there.
そういうことでは、このテストはそなたに成立せぬ。残念残念。そなたの思い人がどのような女か。
俺が黒髪長髪のまな板少女がいいって言ったらどうするよ。
What?
お前とは一つも一致しねえぜ。
Why would you even bring that up?
嘘をつけ。このおっぱいソムリエが。
Yeah, she actually has him on that one.
金髪のダイナマイトバディがいいんだろ。わらわがまさに理想の体現ではないか。
Okay, I don't know about the blonde part, but guys, I got to admit, she makes a really good point with the fucking rest of all of that, honestly. Like, it is a game changer. Am I right, fellas? Or am I right?
お前の3サイズを当てるのが次期投手のテストだってんなら、喜んで挑戦してやるぜ。
Yeah, I'm sure you'll do a great job on that one.
そうそう。
I'm not even sarcastically trying to say that. It's just, I'm pretty sure he would do a really good job.
次期投手のテストであったな。そなたと喋るのが楽しくて、ついついさっきから脱線してしまうわ。それでは、次期投手のテストを始める。
in the next video because, goddamn, guys, I don't know what it is, but my allergies are a fucking mess. I actually had to step away in the middle of this video because I just could not breathe. I can't talk. It fucking sucks. But yeah, that'll do it for this one, guys. Sorry. We'll get back to it, to the tests that Battler and Maria will be engaged in here in the next video, but yeah, that's all I got. And I'm also thinking of, you know, an overall prediction as to what is really going on here in the different renditions of this story. And it's kind of bringing me back to episode 1, but I will save that for the very, very end of episode 4. So just stay tuned, but I might let bits and, you know, all that of that slip as we continue along. But thank you guys for watching this one. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy.